I went back all the way, I'm talking to the end of last year, to 2022, on articles written, whether it be Housing Wire or EPA or just different, like, Fox News, Yahoo, and trying to put a pattern together on how they write stuff. And I've come to the conclusion that a lot of it is propaganda is real. And I don't think it's propaganda in the truest sense of the word of like, hey, somebody's influencing this. These are propaganda channels that are pushing a narrative. I think it's just people are lazy now. And before they actually read a letter, there's no investigation, or read an article, there's no investigation into that article. And I don't think it is just like politics. I think it's also in finance and business. And if you're hearing about it, it's probably too late. And there's a certain narrative they're pushing. And it's all about getting clicks, click, instead of being right.
Clickbait culture.
It's a clickbait culture is what it is. And so to me, it's almost like a propaganda. So they're pushing a certain narrative based on where they work. And as soon as they switch to a different network or a different website or a different newspaper or whatever that they're writing for or whatnot, they change their narrative a little bit. And I also think that there's a lot of people who just believe big banks, credit unions, and big time retail mortgage lenders, right? And they believe them in the sense of that they're the best, and they are not the best. And I'm putting a lot of stuff together on why that is the case. And I'm not trying to sit here and bash the people who work for those companies because I know that they're good people. I'm not trying to sit here and even bash the companies because they're in business to make money. But at the end of the day, let's go back to It's a Wonderful Life. We're George Bailey and they just aren't. They're Mr. Potter, right?
Yeah.
It's all about money and profits. With us, yeah, we want to make money and we want to stay in business and we want to be successful. But we also want to help people. So there's a lot I've been doing on that. And then, I've kind of tied some of it together based off of like the stories on interest rates and where the economy is going and, this, that, and the other thing. And there are people that are pushing a narrative. And I just wonder, are you not educated? And they aren't. Like, we're the professional in this space. We're in this space every single day. The world's not ending. The world's not ending. This isn't 2008 all over again. So you're going to see some stuff on that as well. We're coming out with some educational videos just to educate first-time home buyers, even people in homes. Those are coming probably as soon as next week. I know Donovan's sitting here and being like, oh, man, they've been saying this forever and they still haven't gotten them. He's right, but listen, I had a child and you're lazy. So, there's that. So it's one of those things where I've done, with my baby girl being born, I've been able to sit back and read a little bit more. I haven't had to come into the office. I haven't been prospecting because, it's hard to prospect with a screaming child, right? And she's been great. She doesn't scream that much, but you know what I'm saying? Like getting stuff going and rolling and new technologies. I've been able to kind of see and have some clarity and have a little bit of a break per se. And it is very obvious that there's a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the housing market. There's a lot of people who are pushing a narrative and they're doing it for clickbait. It's that clickbait propaganda. And then there's just a lot of people who are just uneducated. So I'm going to bring education to the people.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I almost feel like the mortgage version of Jesus. I'm here to save y'all.
That's going to get some views.
Donovan's like, hell yeah, I got a clip. Ben, what do you got for me, though? What's this next segment?
I'll get to that in 1 second. I do want to say, just based off of what you said, too, something that I will tell everyone out there is go to an article, look at a mainstream news article, look at the headline, and actually read the article, then look back at the headline and see if it makes any sense.
Like, what do you mean look back at it?
So see actually how it relates to to what the article is.
Meaning if the article and the headline match up.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the vast majority of the time they don't, like, at all.
Right.
They'll be either the opposite or something that just is completely almost unrelated. Once you actually read the context of the article.
Absolutely.
So because people don't have time anymore, so they don't actually read the articles, because you said journalism isn't what it used to be. I mean, the articles actually aren't wrong, but people don't read the articles. They don't read the full articles.
See, that's the difference between me and you.
What?
The articles are wrong.
But if you actually read the content of it.
listen, I've read a lot of articles, and the articles are flat out twisted. They take things out of fact. It's like the president of the United States tweet talking about 311,000 jobs, but not giving context behind it. See, that's the difference between me and you as well. I consider the people who do that and don't give the context, I consider them liars, even though they aren't actually telling a lie. They're misrepresenting the truth, which is a lie to me. Whereas people are like, "Oh, Nick, you're so straightforward." Well, at least you're getting the facts, and the facts as I understand them.
Okay, I agree to it, but if you clicked on the tweet and then it pulled up a bunch of different information that was actually factually correct, that's what I'm saying, that they're putting the truth in there, but it's under a false label, which most people don't even read the whole thing.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, if you actually take the time to do the research, if you have the time to do the research, look at multiple sources always, and make your own opinions, because that is actually how you're going to get actually knowledgeable in situations. Agreed. Don't take anyone's word for granted.
That's like a challenge. Challenge the people. Read the articles.
Exactly. Read the articles. Read multiple sources of articles. Don't just look at one. All right.
Well,
go ahead.
Multiple sources, but all the mainstream articles are the same shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
So read a mainstream
article.
Actually
tell you much.
Read an independent journalist article. Watch an independent YouTube article. Watch an independent news station. Watch a mainstream news station, and then really they're forming these opinions based off of different reports that come out, like the CPI report. Actually look at the report and try to understand it yourself. Try to find somebody who has knowledge of it, who does that, and who reports on it, that you trust. Just because they work for the Wall Street Journal doesn't make them trustworthy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I agree. All right, on the next segment here. So the housing market. So Realtor.com came out with an article stating that the housing market is 6.5 million units short. Breaking news, by the way. This article came out 2 days ago. I mean, I feel like this is something we all know. I mean, it's more of an exact number, I guess, but there is a housing shortage out there overall. And we just talked about it earlier. I mean, CoreLogic says that we're projected nationwide for a 3% gain, much higher here in the Carolinas where that is our home.
So if we're short 6.5 million houses, how is it only going to be a 3.6 gain?
3% gain? Because it's not going to gain much this year. They're expecting it next year. I think that's probably low.
3% is definitely low.
Right.
It's going to be closer to 6 on a nationwide and closer to 15 here in the Carolinas.
I mean, I agree. And this 8.6 is what they're saying for the Carolinas. However, I mean, U.S. housing index just came out with the new one. The number one housing market for that index was Raleigh in the country, followed by like Durham was 3 and Charlotte was 5. So there is a ton out there in the Carolinas. Myrtle Beach was on there. I think
Myrtle
9?
Beach is on there.
It was like Myrtle Beach was
Dirty Myrtle made that list.
16.2% year over year growth in Myrtle Beach.
You want to know what I love about Myrtle Beach?
16.2% growth.
First off, Myrtle Beach, you're about to make some money if you own a home.
Yes, you are.
The second thing I love about Myrtle Beach is y'all fucking embrace it. And what do you embrace? One of your best beers is called Dirty Myrtle. Myrtle is dirty, man. But here's the thing, is Northerners love it. When I was growing up, we're going to Myrtle Beach. And I got there, I'm like, what in the hell am I? Like, Hilton Head's way better. Hilton Head's way better. Charleston is better.
Hey, don't knock Myrtle.
Oh, I'm knocking Myrtle, and I know you're from there. And sorry, Joey and Mary Jean, but that's Ben's parents, by the way. Maybe I shouldn't say their names publicly, but we don't have enough viewership for it to matter anyways. Ben grew up in North Myrtle, so it's not even Dirty Myrtle. That's the rich person version, but it's still not as rich as the rich Hilton Head or Charleston area. But man alive, good for Myrtle Beach. 16.2% increase in home value. Good for you. That's wealth building. If you don't own a primary residence or any properties at all, if you did own one, you'd gain in Myrtle, Dirty Myrtle, you'd gain 16.2%. Plus, there's a very good Italian restaurant there that I go to every time I go, called Crave. There's not a bunch of great restaurants in Myrtle.
There's a few.
Not compared to Charleston or Hilton Head.
No.
And then there's
not Charleston.
And even the golf courses aren't as good as Hilton Head, but they get this whole thing of like that they're great golfers. Am I just bashing Myrtle Beach right now?
Apparently. I mean, I don't.
Their best beer is called Dirty Myrtle. Like best IPA that it's made by a brewery in Myrtle Beach, and it's called Dirty Myrtle. I don't think, Donovan, is that bashing something if I'm just saying that they embrace their culture? Well, people call me a Guido, and I'm like, bring it on. I might have a chin strap next week on this show. So